Hello everyone, it's DuckFader07. Today we are playing Temur Saga Brew. Already had a Gruul Saga Breach brew on my channel that did very well and was replayed by some other content creators, and I saw it a lot on the Twitter, a lot of players playing it, and I had reports of people doing well with it, going top 8 in multiple RCQs. I already showed you in that video my Jund Saga variant, but now we are playing a Temur because I think Spell Pierce is very well positioned, so I wanted also to try the Temur version. Also having access to Expressive Iteration is great. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty similar build to the Gruul and the Jund variant. We have Questing Druids here, just the two of them in this build. I had 4 of them in Gruul, and I think also a lot of them in Jund, but just the 2 of them here, kind of in this variant, I would say more competition for places because of the expressive iteration. Okay, so to Tarmogoyf, I think both Tarmogoyf and Questing Druid shine in decks like this, in Saga decks that have a lot of the cheap spells, and like Mishra Bauble, Spell Pierce, also Wrenn here, enabling you to gain that land drop every turn. So Questing Druid will often you will often have enough mana to play all your spells from the Questing Druid. Breach, I think, is very good at the moment, and very good fit in a decks like this one that also like digs a lot, draws a lot, and then you get the Breach, and the Breach can often win you the game against those 4-color Omnat piles, casting multiple lightning bolts from the graveyard, or just gaining card advantage with Mishra Bubbles. Yeah, okay, so that is it. And we have standard Saga package like Stone of Erech for Scam, Shadowspear. Aether Spellbomb is also pretty good against Scam. You just bounce their turn 1 Scam creature. It's pretty good. Spell Pierce, as I said, I think it's fairly well positioned. 4th one on the sideboard, and we have to change the equations. I think Change the Equation is interesting card right now. It counters a lot of stuff currently played, but also like this could be potentially mana leak or something else. Okay, but other than that, we got Alpine Moons on the sideboard, Graveyard Hates, 2 Pitting Needles. I think having 2 in this variant is pretty good. Then 2 Haywire Mites and 2 Bossages. So this is the game plan. You fight those Beanstalk decks. Wrenn plus Boseiju is pretty good in destroying bindings and Beanstalks. Also having access to Haywire Might, you can tutor with Saga. That is a lot of options. Also having changed the equation and the Spell Pierces plus the powerful threats and the Breach. I think this make it very good deck to play in the grindy matchups. Okay, so that is it. Let's go to the gameplay and see how it went. Okay, I was playing first, keeping pretty good hand. Channeler, Goyf, Wrenn and Six. So started off with a Channeler. Opponent was playing a Yawgmoth. So I had some options here. I decided to go for Tarmogoyf. I wasn't not able to attack here into the Young Wolf, but this was okay. I was hoping to start attacking with Tarmogoyf next turn, and doing surveilling with Channeler and Wrenn and Six. Opponent plays Halfling and passes the turn. Okay, so kind of blocked right now with these creatures, but I play Wrenn and Six, put Fiery Islet in the graveyard. I heat their Halfling see Expressive on top, put it into graveyard, so I grow my Goyf and try to get that Delirium as soon as possible. Opponent blocks with the Young Wolf, and I go for Wrenn and Six getting me Fiery Islet. I can replay, opponent doesn't do anything. So on my turn, I had that Expressive from the top and I decide to cast it immediately, surveilling, getting the Mishra Bauble to finally hit that Delirium and also grow Goyf. Yeah, I got the Shadowspear, which gives me an option to put it on a Tarmogoyf to get trampled to get around their junk blockers. Opponent plays another chord, gets another Young Wolf. So I'll again leave that Goyf on top and just play my Shadowspear. Okay, so I had Unholy Heat in my graveyard and Breach in hand. So I could potentially just go for that to kill the Yawgmoth. I draw Saga for a turn and I start my turn with Saga here, going for the Breach, and yeah, so this way I was able to play the Heat immediately, and yeah, my opponent concedes as soon as I casted the Breach, and I was also able to like just equip the Tarmogoyf, and that was it. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Let's see the sideboarding plan. I don't like Ragavans that much in this matchup, obviously because of the Young Wolves and them having a lot of ways to block it, like Wall of Roots and their Undying Creatures mostly. Yeah, okay, so I played the Channeler on turn 1, played the Mishra Bauble, started surveilling. I also trimmed one Breach because I expected a bit more of graveyard hate in this game too. Opponent then plays Grist and makes an insect token. I had Bolt plus Heat. This way I was able to get rid of the Grist immediately. I can just bolt it and go for the attack. I decide to go for double a channeler and then immediately just hit the Grist and start attacking face. This way I put opponent on 16 and have 2 attackers for the next turn, flying, which is always a problem for them. Also have a lightning bolt in hand for additional pressure. So opponent finds another Grist and they were able to sack the insect token, kill one of my channelers, but that is fine by me. That is just free kill for the Grist, and going for Expressive Iteration, trying to draw additional threats. I find a Wrenn and Six to kill the Grist, and I decide to use the bolt to kill the Halfling too, so they can't cast Yawgmoth next turn or whatever. Opponent didn't have a land, so I think this was a good decision. I also find Unholy Heat, which is a solution for their Yawgmoth or whatever at this moment. I find one of my counters, change the equation. It counters a lot in this matchup. It doesn't counter the Yawgmoth hardcast, but counters most of other things. Okay, so opponent, I pass the turn and exile the Channeler and the Saga, and opponent decides to concede. I guess they didn't find a land they needed or something, and that was it. So let's go check out the match 2. So in the match 2, I played against blue-red controlish pile. Kept a decent hand with Saga, Pierce, Goyf, Druid. So I went for a red source here to be able to cast both the Druid and Goyf, and still have a red source since I missed it. And yeah, so in this situation I decided to just go for Island on turn 2 and hold the Spell Pierce, and then just go for Saga on turn 3. Opponent goes for Stomp and I use my Pierce and connect with Ragavan, getting another Spell Pierce, but I just played the Goyf in this situation. Opponent now goes for Expressive, passing the turn. My Goyf is already 5-6, which is big. And now I have active Urza Saga. I have 2 strong creatures on the field attacking, so pretty a good situation for me. I decide to cast the Snapcaster just as additional threat in this situation and create my construct end of turn. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration but doesn't find any solutions for my board, and that is the game. Okay, let's check out game 2. Okay, so keeping pretty good hand again. I have Ragavan, I have Channeler. Let's see my sideboarding plan for this matchup. I trimmed just 1 Ragavan, 1 Breach. Opponent was playing a control pile, so I think no Murktides. I didn't board much, just trimmed a couple of cards, and no big changes in this one. I just wanted some graveyard hate, put some graveyard hate in, and that's it basically. So yeah, so obviously after they killed my initial creatures, I was on Urza Saga plan here. Opponent goes for Expressive, digging for threats or interaction to get rid of Urza Saga tokens. I find my green source here, and okay, so they actually exiled the lightning bolt with Expressive. That was the reason why I didn't make a construct on their turn. They will just bolt it, so there was no point. And on my turn I created a construct. I got a Soul Guide Lantern and I cast my Questing Druid. So on my next turn I was able to resolve Expressive Iteration, go for Wrenn and Six, get back Urza Saga. Okay, I did get my Urza Saga back, so that was great. I forgot what happened there exactly, but yeah, okay, never mind. I played another Urza Saga, had my construct on the field, saving. I have Mishra Bauble in my hands to grow my constructs. In situation like this, I often just save it on the field. I don't even crack it if necessary. I went for Wrenn and Six. I really wanted to get rid of the Snapcaster, because when they have the Snapcaster in situations like this, they can play Flame of Feiner and get the full value, and I kind of don't want to let that happen. So I just played Wrenn and Six, ping the Snap, and created another construct, but they had another snap into Flame of Aether. But my hand was very good. I was able to continue grinding, just playing those Urza sagas, making my construct tokens. Opponent has the Shadowspear to get rid of, has minor misstep to get rid of my Shadowspear. They also have a Back to Nature to kill the Saga. It doesn't matter much because I have Wrenn and Six getting it back. My hand was very good. I had multiple threats, multiple stuff to do. I started off with a Channeler here and went for the Breach. I had multiple options here, a lot of cards in the graveyard. Yeah, I had like everything I need there, but somehow I didn't have a removal, so not a single bolt or Unholy Heat in the graveyard at this point. I went for another channeler. But yeah. So I just decided just to continue playing these bubbles, drawing a bunch of cards, basically trying to find the Unholy Heat. Didn't get it, so I just casted Mishra Bauble like 5 times, and that was it. Playing my Tarmogoyf and passing the turn. So on opponent's turn, I draw 5 cards, which is pretty strong in a grindy matchup like this. Opponent killed my Goyf and attacked with Hercule, getting more value out of Hercule. This is pretty interesting. This is the card this player is playing all the time, trying to make it work. It's pretty interesting. Hercule can provide a lot of card draw. Okay, so I got removal for Hercule there. I got Expressive into Exiling Bolt to also get rid of the snap. And again I'm able to create another construct. And I spell pierce their removal. I didn't have a mana to create another construct, but I saved this one. I was able to attack, put my opponent on 8 life. So a lot of stuff going on, and I only had 11 cards left in my library. So opponent is playing cards like adventure cards like Scalding Viper, Bone Crusher Giant, pairing that with Hercule, which allows him to get the multiple draws from the Hercule. Okay, opponent plays double Scalding Viper, new card from Wilds of Eldraine, but I was able to, through the Viper, to go a Breach and a triple bolt to face to finish for the lethal, and that was the match. Okay, so let's check out match 3. Let's check out the wins first, and then we go for the defeat. Okay, I was playing a second here, keeping a pretty good hand, Ragavan, Goyf, Wrenn and Six, Bauble from the top to grow my Goyf, and to find that another land I miss. So I see the Generous Scent on top of my opponent's deck. I have no idea what exactly are they playing, but it is a Beanstalk pile. Okay, I got the Wrenn and Six. I got Tarmogoyf on the field to start pressuring my opponent. They had Beanstalk active, and they were able to binding my Goyf, getting another draw trigger. So I connect with Ragavan, but they cascade into another beanstalk, and this can get problematic pretty quickly. I go for another construct token on my turn, get the Mishra Bauble. I play the Stone of Erech to grow my construct, and opponent decides to trade with my Ragavan there, and going for a third and a fourth beanstalk. And yeah, so problem is probably for my opponent in this situation, Fury doesn't deal with constructs, so they really need solitudes, and I guess they didn't find anything because they just conceded. And with 4 beanstalks on the field, that's pretty funny. Okay, but let's see game 2. Okay, so had to mulligan this one, and I kept a decent 6. No green mana though, but it is fine with the Expressive and Urza Saga. Opponent finding a forest here, playing forest. I go for a tap land, I play another channeler. I go for a tap land and play another channeler, and I have Expressive for the next turn. Okay, so that was the plan. Opponent again doing their thing, turn 3 Shardless, finding the beanstalk. I was playing second, so changed the quotient from the sideboard, didn't do much. Okay, let's see, what did I sideboard here? I sideboarded 1 Pierce and just one change the quotient. Although change the quotient is pretty good in this matchup, countering like Omnat, Beanstalk, Wrenn when you're playing against regular non-cascade piles. But in this matchup, maybe probably not enough, so I just brought in one of those. I trimmed on Breach, trimmed on Bolt, stuff like Aether Spellbomb and Graveyard Hate I don't really need, and that's it. Okay, opponent goes for another Ardent Plea, and they have Layla Binding and getting through 2 draws from the Binding to get rid of my Goif. I went for another Ragavan Dash, but I didn't have much, I didn't even have a green mana, so I was struggling with mana. At this point I wasn't able to hold the counters or anything, and they will go for the omelet, and I decided to concede the match. That was it. Okay, so let's check out the game 3. Okay, in the game 3, I think this is pretty good hands. I have the Pierce, I have Wrenn and Six, so I need to decide whether I go for Wrenn and Six on turn 2 or just hold the Pierce, but I really want to get the Wrenn going, and I'm just hoping they won't have a Beanstalk on turn 2. So I was now able to hold the Pierce for their turn 3, and I also had a Wrenn plus Boseiju going on, so I decided to start hitting their lands. They don't play many black sources, maybe 2 at most, so hitting a Savai can be relevant maybe, and it was kind of free to do for me, so I just went for it. And yeah, plussing the Wrenn and Six already on 6 counters there can quickly win a game. And now I'm holding Boseiju and Urza Saga activation, so going for the constructs again, hoping to get a similar win to the one in the match in the game 1. I target my Urza Saga with Wrenn, but they have Endurance this time, so they kill it. I was not able to attack into the Endurance, and they go for attack with endurance, and I decide to use the double heat to protect my Wrenn and Six. I didn't want to jump with the construct tokens, risking them killing one. Yeah, I killed the endurance, but they had a binding to deal with Wrenn and Six anyway. I find the Havar Might and I was able to attack for 8 damage, put my opponent on 9 and get my Wrenn back, which then brings Urza Saga back, of course. I didn't want to crack the Bauble since Bauble did make constructs larger. Opponent kills Obsidian Charmer, but I have Wrenn and Six, so I don't really care that much about that. I go for a breach here and hit my opponent blocker. I didn't have didn't have another bubble to grow my constructs, so I cracked this one, play it again before attacks, try to put opponent as low as possible. They have Solitude to deal with one of the constructs, so I crack the bubble post combat, drawing a card, trying to find a lethal. Opponent has another Charmal, but that is not that relevant with Wrenn and Six on the field. So now I had Boseiju to deal with their beanstalks and bindings. I had Urza Sagas to make more constructs, and the breach in hand to do like a lot of draws or whatever. So this was a pretty bad situation for the opponent. I played the Urza Saga, I played the Goyf, and just continue using the Boseiju. Opponent has the Obsidian Charmal, they can use it to hit my Wrenn and Six, unfortunately, but it is okay. Still, Wrenn did a lot of job there. Already they didn't even target it. And yeah, so I went for Shadowspear here, equipped Shadowspear on Tarmogoyf, and like Obsidian Charmal was probably my opponent's only chance, try to race with it and hope for a top deck. When I got Shadowspear from the top, that was game over for the opponent and they decide to concede. That was the game. Okay, and the match. Okay, so that was it. Let's check out the feeds now. Match number 4. Keeping a pretty good hand. Ragavan, double channelers with the breach is pretty good. But opponent is playing first, starting with Tomb, which could mean they're on Yawgmoth. Yeah, opponent goes for Wall of Roots, completely blocking my Ragavan. So Ragavan is often very useless in this matchup, especially when you're playing second. So I got double channel on the field, that can be pretty good. And I try to create a delirium as soon as possible, and opponent plays the Orcish Bowmaster. But yeah, I got a Soul Cauldron from their deck, is very powerful against mine deck and can mess up my Wrenn and Six, can mess up with my Delirium, and yeah, even if I kill Grist, they can use it, Agatha, to make all their creatures a Grist, so it's very hard for me to deal with it. It's easiest for me to counter it. Okay, so I was too far behind in this game, so I decided to concede. Okay, so in this matchup I boarded out a couple of Ragavans, I boarded out my Aether Spellbomb and the Pierces. Bring in, change the equation. Change the equation is not great, but it's better than, probably better than Pierce, and counters a lot. Counters counters everything except for the Yawgmoth, but it can counter Eldritch Evolution or Chord of Calling for x equals 3 and less. It doesn't counter two of the most common spells they play, so it's not great, but it is playable. Opponent goes for another Strangleroot Geist attack here, and they go for a Yawgmoth. Yeah, unfortunately change the equation, as I said, doesn't counter it, but I had Unholy Heat in my hand, so I went to create a construct token. And I already had Delirium, and I wanted to play a lot of stuff there, so I decided to start with the Questing Druid. Of course, these all are just targets for them to kill with, my creatures. I got the Delirium and decided to not use anything. So start off with Shadowspear. I wanted them to sack the Strangleroot Geist before using the Unholy Heat. This way they really can't use much of their Yawgmoth abilities to gain considerable card advantage. I had a Pitting Needle on Yawgmoth, opponent goes for Boseiju on my needle. That was the last card in their head, so in response I went for Unholy Heat to kill the Yawgmoth, and now my opponent was on 0 cards in hand and I still had a Breach for the next turn, so it was great situation for me. Also Stone of Erech on the field, preventing the Undying from my opponent's creatures. So I go for the Breach. And yeah, I have a Pitting Needle in my graveyard and the Unholy Heat, which can do a lot of job, and opponent decides to concede. So that was game 2. Let's check out the game 3. Okay, so this hand was pretty good. I had Heat, I had Needle immediately to play on Yawgmoth. I had the creatures and the card draw, so I had everything I needed. I think I had a misplay in this matchup. Let us see. Okay, so I went for Blooming Marsh, and they resolved the Agatha Soul Cauldron. That is the worst card against me, and yeah, they had the best possible play. Turn 3 Orcish Bowmaster into removing another card from the graveyard, killing my Tarmogoyf. This is just terrible for me. Yeah, so opponent really got to use their cards very well. Agatha, Soul Cauldron, hating my graveyard, and the Bowmaster killing my Goyf. That's pretty brutal. Opponent then had Grist, and Grist on the field, and Agatha Soul Cauldron on the field is pretty good. And I was kind of annoyed, but that play from the opponent, it was very good and put me so far behind. I had a way out here. I was able to heat the Grist because I had the Delirium. I could do it in response to Soul Cauldron, so I was able to heat the Grist and then Lantern their graveyard if they try to exile the Grist, or just do it immediately. And I had a good hand, expressive, but it didn't feel like opponent was just I was kind of annoyed from something already in the previous game, so I conceded the match there. I had decent chances to get out of this and win, but I decided to concede. So that was a match. Let's check out Let's check out another match. This was another defeat from the same league. Okay, so I kept medium hand. Nothing crazy going on here, but I had Spell Pierce and the Questing Druid. So this was the reason why I decided to put the second needle in my sideboard. I had a very good league, but I played against two of Yawgmoth decks and I didn't have enough heat for them. So the Agatha Soul Cauldron was especially hard to deal with. And yeah, my Goyf was again pretty small here, not doing anything relevant. And yeah, so I passed the turn with Urza Saga, and opponent had Yawgmoth killing my Goyf here. This was game over. So after this league I decided to put that second needle on the sideboard. Unfortunately I didn't have it in this league. If I had it I would have much better chance to win those games, but I ran into two Yawgmoth decks, kind of unprepared, not enough hate for the matchup. But yeah, at least after this experience I decided I definitely missing some cards from the sideboard, and I didn't have anything to put in. Actually my sideboard just was not good at all for this matchup, so I had to use cards like Change the Equation, which is okay, but not really a card I want to play. Okay, so I went for the Druid here. I went for finding Tarmogoyf and Unholy Heat, so I just went for it. Opponent has Hapatra. I had multiple options here. I decided to go for Expressive, hoping to hit that land, but didn't get it. At least I hit Delirium for the Channeler. That was good. So attacking with Tarmogoyf, opponent jumping. And they have Hapatra on the field. This means if they get Yawgmoth, they can kill all my creatures. And they also got a Blood Artist now. Yeah, I should have blocked there with Hapatra. I would prevent them from getting the snake token. That was definite mistake. Yeah, that was definite mistake. So now I was planning on casting explosives on 2. That was the reason why I killed that token. I was missing a land, and unfortunately I had to play my Wrenn and Six to get that 4th land I wanted. So this means I will be forced to kill my Wrenn and Six with explosives. But yeah, my hand was not great, and at least opponent already used the Undying ability on their Geist, which means I will be able to get a lot of value with these explosives. So now opponent, I can kill my opponent entire board except for the Sheldred. Unfortunately opponent got Sheldred on the field in good time, so I was able to clear their board except for the Sheldred, but Sheldred is pretty good if you don't deal with this immediately. I lose, and I had 2 bubbles on the field. I tried to get a draw, looking for a draw from the top. I got the bolt, but that was not good enough, and that was it. Okay, so yeah, that was the entire league. Deck felt good, but the Yawgmoth matchup was not great, and if I had that second needle in those games I would have much better chances. But after that matchup I decided to double up on the Yawgmoth hate, so 2 needles on the side. Also these needles can be relevant in a lot of other matchups. Okay, so change the quotients are okay. That is my conclusion. It's very interesting card to play. It counters a lot, but I think I just rather have a mana leak. It's almost good enough, but not quite. And I think I will change this with just mana leak, probably. And yeah, okay. So or maybe just mystical dispute, but I think mana leak might be actually better. It's mana leak is kind of a slept card. Nobody plays that. Nobody played that for a long time. It was a staple before MH2, and it's still playable. Not great, but I think it can be used very efficiently in some sideboards that have hard time putting in actual counterspell because of the mana requirements. Okay, so I'm very happy with the sideboard now. So a lot of artifact enchantment hate that we can tutor, that we can recur with Wrenn and Six. Pitting Needles, mostly for Yawgmoth, but you can use it in a lot of matchups. Pride Spellbomb to deal with pro-red creatures. One of Explosives. Explosives is not that good at the moment as it was, so I decided to trim this card to just one of. Additional Graveyard Hate, and that's it. Okay, so just a friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe. I think this deck is puts Questing Druid to very good use, and and I think Breach plays out very well in this deck. A lot of cheap interaction, and I think that is where Questing Druid and Tarmogoyf shine. You could see those games in last two games against Yawgmoth where Tarmogoyf was not good. That's exactly why you need all those cheap spells to power it up. And even in the deck like this that has a lot of those, that wasn't enough. And yeah, but it's usually pretty good, but also that is the reason why I wanted to play just two of those in this list. And okay, so that is it. Breach was very good. I very like Breach in these builds. I opted to play 3 here, but 2 may be enough. Also opted to play just 3 Wrenn and 6. Wrenn and 6 is pretty good in this deck, but I wanted to play 3 breaches. I think like this is the way I win a lot of the matches with, and I think it's very important. This is the Saga variant. I think Saga is very good right now. With the Gruul Breach deck I was talking about previously, I have on my channel. You can check that out. I had like amazing score against Black Red Scam deck, and I had like 8-0 against it at one point, and I've definitely wanted to try more builds with this strategy. Saga is like incredibly good. Also Questing Druid does a great job in that matchup, and yeah, so I really like this list, and I think it's very powerful. This was among my first leagues with I didn't play much lately. I have less time to play, so there will be a lot of 3-2 leagues on my channel. Mostly I'm just playing a single league or maybe 2 leagues max, and then switching to another deck, testing a lot of stuff. Okay, so that is it, but I think that this archetype, this strategy has a lot of potential. Temur Saga, I think it can be very strong. Having access to Saga in this shell, I think makes your scam matchup a lot better. Like really huge difference having Saga and not having Saga. I think some sideboard slots could be better used, like I definitely like addition of second needle for that Yawgmoth matchup, and as I said, Mana Leak could switch for the change the quotients, but I think rest is fine, and that is it. Okay, so again, thank you for watching. Let me know your comments down below. How do you like this build compared to the Gruul and the Jund one I showed in the last video? And that's it. So again, thanks for watching and goodbye.